Hi, this is Catherine Rosen with Board Game Geek here at SPIEL 2016. I'm sitting here with Duncan Malloy from Osprey Games, and he's here to talk about Escape from Colditz. So tell me about the game.
So, I don't know if you know the history of Escape from Colditz, but Escape from Colditz is a game about breaking out of prison where the people trying to escape are the good guys. And it was designed by a former British prisoner of war who actually escaped from Colditz prison during the Second World War.
Oh, wow.
So Colditz was the prison camp where they sent you if you had escaped from a different Nazi prison. And Pat wrote an autobiography about it that got adapted into a TV series by a chap called Brian Degas. And together, Pat and Brian designed this game almost as an autobiographical game in some ways.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
So every element of this game has been designed to simulate not the conditions in the prison, but the atmosphere.
Okay, yeah.
And coming from the 70s, it was way ahead of its time. For a host of reasons, it's been unavailable in English for decades. And we had an opportunity to bring it back, which
exciting.
I was very excited about. And there's always a question when you're bringing something like this back in terms of, do you change things? Do you
do you change?
Exactly,
how do you change
how true
it?
do you be to it?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Pat passed away about 20 years ago, but Brian still alive. Brian and I have actually become quite good friends in the back of this, but it gave us an opportunity to be able to sit down with one of the original designers and with the person who was originally tasked with making this fit Pat's actual experience as closely as possible. So
you had someone who had a first-hand experience with speaking to someone who had a first-hand experience. Right?
Completely. So it allowed us to really fine-tune any little tweaks we would make by going, is this true to the spirit of the original and the spirit of what Pat wanted the original to be? So,
while at the same time maybe modernizing it just a little bit to
tightening
appeal
it up,
to the modern audience.
Smoothing it out, balance tweaks, that kind of thing. So we've kind of considered this, to use a film analogy, as a remaster more than a remake. We wanted it to be the absolute best version of what it already was, rather than kind of change its heart. But it's a gorgeous game. If you don't know how Colditz works, there are between 2 and 6 players. One player will take on the role of the German security officers, which are the black
So it's one against many.
One against many. Semi-cooperative in the true sense, not in the sense that there's a traitor mechanic, but in the sense that all of these prisoners are going to be, all of the players, I should say, are going to be playing prisoners of different nationalities. And historically, there were so many escape attempts at Colditz that each nationality nominated an officer from among their ranks to be the escape officer, so that they could coordinate with each other, because there were cases like the French were digging a tunnel and the English nearly dug into it from the side.
So to make sure that they don't ruin each other's escape attempts. Yeah.
But also to make sure that not everybody knows everybody's escape attempts, because then the word will leak out and it'll be shut down. So one player is playing as the security officers and everybody else is playing as an escape officer, trying to get 2 of their prisoners out. So you'll take your turns moving around the board, trying to gather different pieces of equipment, and once you feel like you have enough equipment, absolutely yes, we've got that, we've got a rope, we've got a key, and we've got a German pass, and these are all things they managed to forge within the prison itself. So historically, Colditz used to be an old hospital. So it was a dentist's office, and they were actually able to use the old dentist drills that were abandoned in there to cut keys.
That's amazing.
To try and get out of the doors. So, as the prisoners, you're going to be gathering as much equipment as you can, trying to map your escape routes. Hypothetically, I might just pull the board a little bit, just so you guys can see what I'm doing. All the prisoners generally have to remain within the inner courtyard section here. But if I'm a prisoner, I might go, okay, I'm going to try and go out this way. To get out of this window, I need 30 feet of rope, which is a single rope card. Then I'm also going to try and
paying
jump down
to
here,
move
so
down.
I will
You're using all
spend a
these
piece of
cards.
rope, spend another piece of rope, and then this is a 60-foot drop, so I'll need 2 pieces of rope here. So this is quite a short route, but I'll need 4 pieces of rope, and if I'm gathering that much rope, it's probable that the German player is going to twig what I'm up to, particularly if I'm hovering down this end of the board. Also, this is quite a narrow corridor, so it is relatively easy for the German player to block me off there. I might instead try to break out in this direction via this tunnel and use a wire cutter to get out here and reach one of these escape points here. But again,
just a lot of variety, a lot of choice.
Completely.
And the German player has to try to figure out where he's going to, focus his attention.
Exactly. And that's the cooperative sense. Not that we're all working together towards a shared
try
goal.
to spread out to make
exactly. If I'm
the
helping
German
you
officer-
try and escape over here, then all of the guards are going to flood that section of the board, and suddenly I have an opportunity.
Exactly.
So
how long does the game typically take to play?
It typically takes about 2 hours with new players. One of the things that we've changed from the original didn't have a defined endpoint. It was just we agree for how long we're going to play, and then it shuts down.
Yeah. Which is it's a
little clunky, but inevitably also it meant that as you were reaching the climax of the game, the players would want to go, just another 10 minutes, just another 15 minutes, which is great if the players are that excited, but it's also the German players' win condition just being bumped and bumped and bumped and bumped. So what we've changed, actually, we have this round counter around the board, and you play for 50 rounds, and at the end of the German player's round, he counts down time, so you can see your time ticking away as your opportunities.
So you have a specific goal to look for. Any other changes that you've done?
Loads.
Well, I'm assuming the artwork has been changed.
The artwork is entirely
gorgeous boxes
new.
and interior parts to the game.
So we have replicated a bunch of artifacts. That is an actual postcard which was sent home to a chap's aunt who was imprisoned at Colditz. It may or may not be a secret coded message to the War Office. It absolutely is. We colour matched all of the pawns to the original edition. Then we ended up tweaking the red and blue slightly just for colour blindness issues. We've got replica Red Cross parcels. We've got kind of pseudo-replica Red Cross cigarette boxes as deck boxes, and all of the cards are now fully illustrated. So we've got Peter Dennis, who's kind of a famous World War II artist, to completely illustrate all of the card artwork. So let me grab some of the nice ones. Yeah, it's really, really gorgeous, and really in the spirit of the original,
while still modernizing it.
Completely.
Making it visually beautiful and...
So some of the tweaks that we've made, in some cases there were rules in the original which were very easy to misinterpret. In some cases there were rules in the way that the original rule book was written that was not what the original designers intended.
Cleared it up a bit.
Smoothed over the edges, I think it's fair to say. One of the elements that we have added are these escape attempt tokens. And what these will do now, anytime you use a piece of escape equipment, so for example, I'm going to use a piece of rope, and I'm going to use it to, I'm going to use it to get out of one of these windows. I will now put an escape attempt marker of my colour on that window, and that indicates that I've set up a piece of rope down that drop, but only I and the guards know about it, so only I can use it. But I can use that repeatedly until the security officer sends a guard there to physically remove it.
If one of the other colors comes there and it sees it, can they also put their own color
They can
there?
replace it with their own color.
And then you can't use it anymore.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it adds another element. I mean, when we initially considered it, we considered it as an aid memoir, but really what it adds is it adds an element of bluff more than anything else at a relatively high cost, because gathering equipment is tough and you have to send somebody down that piece of rope for you to be able to set it up. But it adds an element of busy work for the guards and another means by which to distract them. We obviously added the round marker, made a couple of minor rule tweaks, but all of which are relatively minor. The main one, I think, for people who are familiar with the original game is that you used to start the game by having to assemble an escape kit. and you use the escape kit. You gather some food, some forged documents, some clothes, and a compass, and you need one of these before you can escape. What we've actually done is we've said that each player will start with an escape kit, but they need an escape kit per prisoner who escapes.
So they need to gather a second escape kit for the next.
So it allows you to just get to the action much more quickly, while still leaving in that thematic element of having to go
gather
and gather
all the
everything. And exactly. So yeah, that's Colditz in essence. It's been amazing. It's been a really great opportunity, I think, to work on this, and I've really adored it, and it's particularly beloved of the UK games community. It is iconic in the UK in the way that D&D is iconic in the US. So to have had the opportunity to be involved
refresh
in
it and to bring it back to life.
Exactly, and to make it available to people again. It's been really, really a privilege, and it's been one that I haven't taken lightly. I think,
and that's important when you're doing something that's so beloved as this.
I think so.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
It's very great. That is Escape from Colditz from Osprey Games.